Hello, this is Bill Cooper, and the name of the show is Savannah at Night, and we are WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. If your business enjoys our programming on WRUULP, please support the station with a donation. Let your customers, neighbors, and friends know that you share our vision of building a thriving community based on diverse, vibrant radio programming. As a business partner, our listeners will know you support Savannah's only broad-based community radio station. Become a tower sponsor or underwriter. To check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org-business. Again, to check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/business. Thank you for listening and supporting WRUU-LP. Anyway, you folks out here listening, thank you. Welcome to our show. We hope you enjoy it. The purpose of this show, Savannah at Night, is to put you in touch with the wealth of local talent we have in this city. I have been connected with acting for 13 years now, and for comedy going on 5 years. And I'm telling you, it never fails to impress me how talented the local talent here is. As I said on the earlier broadcast, we are fortunate to have SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, which came here a little over 30 years ago with just 30 students. They have over 7,000, and that has given an infusion of interest in arts. So if you don't get out to see what's going on in this city, I hope this is an impetus for you to do it. Do something different, try it, and I promise you, you will thank me. Some of the shows here, whether it's music, whether it's a musical, whether it's a museum, or whether it's a theater or the film festival or a comedy show, they are far above what you would expect. It's just a good thing happening here, and this is why I'm here to talk. Anyhow, my guest today is the lovely Dandy Barrett. Dandy, I've acted with her, and I've known her for a long time, and I'm so impressed. When I'm at something she's in, if I'm not in it, Marianne and I are saying just how outstanding an actor you are. So I hope you're not blushing, but anyway, that's you. Welcome, Dandy.
Thank you very much, Bill. It's delightful to be here.
Now, as I said, I've seen you and think the level of talent that you are at, would you say, more study into learning a script than other people, or does it come really naturally to you?
I'm not sure that it comes naturally. I think in many instances it comes with experience. When you begin to act, many times you don't understand what it takes to memorize a script, to build a character, to go on the journey that is the arc, and we're talking theater here,
right.
To go on the journey that is the arc from the beginning of the play that culminates in the climax and the denouement. I mean, there is an extraordinary amount of effort, and if you want to be good at it, like anything else, you have to give the time to it. I can give you an example. I've been privileged to be able to do a lot of plays in Savannah that are on my bucket list. And one that was always at the top of the list was a play called Wit, the Pulitzer Prize-winning play.
We saw it. It was great.
Thank you very much.
Incredible.
And when you talk about Wit, you understand that it is a 90-minute, one-act play that is dominated by the character that I played, Dr. Vivian Baring. And so while there are other players in Wit very important to the play, Dr. Baring in this goes through a number of very long monologues. She, in essence, is the narrator of the play as well as a character in the play. So the line load in that play is extraordinary. We did it in March with the Collective Face Theater Ensemble, and I can tell you that I began to memorize in January, so that when we began rehearsals in late January, early February, and I guess I started becoming familiar with the play in the fall that preceded it. I started actual memorization work right after Christmas, so that when I walked into the first rehearsal in late January, I was very familiar with the script. I had already begun to develop a lot of the character. So it's a lot of work, a lot of hours.
And basically that's what I expected you. And as you say, anything worth doing is worth putting the effort in. And good for you. I'm not surprised, but it shows.
Thank you.
That, and once again, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you want to be good, you have to have a level of talent that sets you apart from other people. And you do have that. I mean, there are some outstanding women actresses. I don't want to get into naming them because if I leave someone out, someone's going to feel bad in this city. And you know that.
Yes, there are. Absolutely.
And just talking about women right now, and you are definitely at the top of that list with
Bill, thank you.
Maybe one or two others, but you're up there.
Thank you so much.
It's just, when you go to a theater, you go for the experience. Maybe you're not crazy about the play. Maybe you're not crazy about an actor or an actress or what they're doing in it. But there is always something in there that's so good that you take away from it. Just being honest. I mean, there's something that thrills you. As much as I like movies, even a play that I would consider, I wouldn't watch it if it was a movie, is worth watching because it's live in front of you, and you don't have to direct your eyes where the camera wants you to go. That's what I like about a play.
No.
You can look at the one, and I do that now and then. Someone who may be a main character, but they're off to the side. I always check out, are they staying in character?
What are they doing? Right.
Are they staying in character?
Right.
Because
are they in what we call in the moment?
Right.
Do you remain in the moment?
And that is so important, but you don't have the ability to do that when it's a televised thing or it's a movie thing because the camera shows you where you're supposed to look. You can't look at the rest of the set and see what's going on.
Well, that's also for me, one of the joys of theater is to be in the moment because you can give yourself fully. You don't have to reserve anything, and you have to be focused for that hour and a half or that 2-hour period that it takes to execute a play. And you take it from the beginning through the middle to the end. That's where I get my joy.
And people who haven't acted or maybe haven't done it since they were in grade school or high school or whatever, you forget that even when you're not on stage, you have to be totally in tune what's going on there
on
stage because it keeps you in your character and in your mood, and then you don't miss your appearance time, which was
it's also the
tough.
Preparation work that you do. I've seen a lot of people who like to act in plays who don't prepare properly. And by that I mean not only the rehearsal and character development and all of the preparation that goes into being character, but who scream into a theater 15 minutes before the show is to go up. If you do that, you are doing a disservice to your character, you're doing a disservice to your fellow actors, and most of all, you're doing a disservice to your audience.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know anybody who truly can get into character and be fully vested in 15 minutes' time.
No.
You have to give yourself time to dress, you have to give yourself time to make up, and you have to give yourself that focused time that is necessary to imbue the character with everything you've got before you put your first foot onto the stage.
And there's something that can, get you there maybe a little bit late. That happens to anyone. It's an unforeseen thing in that. However, it's like I live my life. My wife will say, we're only going 10 minutes away. It's a half an hour. I says, what if the road's tied up with an accident? What if, we'll still be on time if we not leave now? And I had to get that through to her, because that's the way I am.
Yes.
If I'm not 10 minutes early, I'm late. That's
if
how
you're
I
on
feel.
time, you're 10 minutes late.
Right. And and she's fine. She's just Marianne.
Oh,
She's
Marianne's
just terrific.
wonderful.
So, she went along with it and that, but it was like, why are we leaving now? I haven't combed my hair yet. We got a mirror in the truck.
Well, people know that I show up 10, 15 minutes earlier than my due time.
Absolutely.
I just
as you did today.
Yes,
Which
I
is
did.
Great.
As I did today.
As I said, I was not surprised. I was just, I know Dandy. That's the way you do things. Now, David Poole, I'd love to have him on here someday. I think
I'm
he'd be
sure he'd be
terrific.
delighted to come on. I'd be more than happy to pass it along, Bill.
David Poole is usually the director on...
He's the artistic director of our company, the Collective
Right.
Face Theater Ensemble. He has directed all but 2 of the more than 20 plays that we've put on in the last 6 years. And he is the artistic director in that he designs the sets and he also directs the shows. As I said, with the exception of 2, our other director has been Carla Knudsen, who directed Shadowlands and also directed Wit.
And the sets. Speaking
Yes.
of the sets, you being so keyed into your job, so tuned into it, it's got to be another thrill just to work with those sets, because the sets for Collective Face, if you don't see the play, it's worth seeing the set. That's how good it is.
Well, thank you, Bill. I believe that we have developed a reputation. David has developed a reputation for going above and beyond where sets are concerned. But I have to give credit as well to the other members of the company, because sometimes David makes pretty pictures, and then it's up to us to execute. We build, we cut,
effort.
we saw, we paint,
Absolutely.
we figure out. We're fortunate now to have a member whose name is Mike Moynihan. Mike's an excellent technical director, and Mike knows how to make it happen. I mean, David has the vision, but you have to have people who know how to make it happen, to put it up.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, and as members of the company, we all have an obligation to work on the sets. So there are those of us who are on stage, but everybody's working off stage.
That is something I've said often from doing a ton of films with scared kids. Almost without exception, every film shoot I've been on, everyone works together as a unit, as a team to get it done. It may not be your job, but that doesn't matter. If the director or producer says, I need a cable over here, 3 people will run for it.
Yeah.
You know, instead of them standing looking around, oh, why don't you get it in that? And that tells me I am on a good shoot, and that these kids are, and I call them kids because, you know, they're in their 20s and I'm not.
Oh, no? You're not in your 20s, Bill?
Oh, no. Actually, no. You know what's funny about the age? You know, I'm 73, and someone said, you don't mind telling your age? I said, if it would change my age, lying about it,
Right.
sure, I'd lie about it, but it doesn't, so why should I? Anyway, that is...
Well, I think that one of the things that people don't realize, too, and I would take this opportunity, you know, we welcome people helping us on the sets, and we have great time doing it, you know. So it's possible, if you don't fathom yourself an actor, there is so much more to get involved in with a theater company. I mean, everything from building sets to operating lights to operating a soundboard to gathering props to building costumes.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's a process.
oh,
and a
my
big one.
goodness, yeah.
And that's a good way for someone, as I say, they may not have a desire to step on a stage, but to
Right.
get to know the people that are going to be in it. And I think you get a little more fulfillment out of it when you're sitting there and you say, oh, she was cool backstage. He was fun. You know,
Right.
It's a little more enjoyment you get out of that. It's not, you know, and it's volunteering. It's doing something good for the community.
It is doing something.
What
It
makes you
is.
feel better than
I
that?
mean, we keep our prices down because we try desperately to, you know, use it up, make it do without, and still build those sets that you talked about where David Poole is concerned, and also costume it properly, costume a show properly. And the way we do it is it's all volunteer. And so we need all the volunteer help we can get. And we would love, you know, go on our website, collectiveface.org, go on to our Facebook page, you know, the Collective Face Theater Ensemble. Our opportunities are there, and we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you.
Speaking about sets, the
Yeah.
one in the underpants with that old period stove
Yes.
there, I almost couldn't take my eyes off the stove. It was so beautiful. One of those big old cast iron, but it had enamel front on it and that.
Yep.
As I say, to go to that detail for a local play, which,
Right.
shows you the kind of quality you're going to see when that play starts.
That's true.
When the
and
lights go down.
that stove was built.
Imagine that! Wow.
That stove, we built that stove.
That's unbelievable.
We didn't get an old stove. We couldn't find one, and
wondering why I couldn't heat my sandwiches up on
indeed.
it. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So you've done a ton of work, and we can get into that.
Right.
But do you have a preference? Strictly drama, or one that's a play that's a comedy? Do you have as far as acting in?
I would have to say probably yes. I enjoy drama, but having done Boing Boing with the company, which is just a fall down funny comedy, I had such a good time, Bill, doing Boing Boing. And I was called in at the last minute because we had a person who had to drop. And I had just come off of Wit, which is a drama, although, of course, any good drama has those moments of humor that allow you not to slit your wrists.
Right.
So it's hard. It's hard. I would like to do more. I think I'm known more for drama.
You are.
But I would like to do more comedy. Let's put it that way.
Okay, just a reminder, we're talking here with Dandy Barrett, fantastic local Savannah actress. And my name is Bill Cooper. The show is Savannah at Night. And let's see, I'm going to read a corporate donation promo. If your business enjoys our programming on WRUU-LP, please support the station with a donation. Let your customers, neighbors, and friends know that you share our vision of building a thriving community based on diverse, vibrant radio programming. As a business partner, our listeners will know you support Savannah's only broad-based community radio station. Become a tower sponsor or underwriter. To check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/business. Again, to check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/business. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUU-LP. And thank you folks listening here on WRUU. We have no show if you're not there, and it's nice to know that you're out there. And again, my name is Bill Cooper, and my purpose of this show here is to introduce people to the world of talent that's in this city in the arts. And I have been fortunate enough for the last 13 years to be connected with it, and I have met a wealth of people, and each week I'll be bringing to you one or more per show, and letting you get the feeling like, wow, I've got to get out and see these good things that are going on in Savannah. This is my goal. So anyway, back to you, D&D. Let's see. Death of a Salesman.
Yes.
Death of a Salesman. Outstanding. I mean, so good. And once again, the set kept you amazed that, this is how you work with, and it's such a stage is a small area for what, a building, an office building, whatever you're putting on there, a bus ride, anything you're putting up there, you have to give the illusion of it in a very small space, and it is done so well, it just kept everyone in that play, which of course is one of America's greatest
It's iconic.
plays. It truly is.
And it's one of those that the fellow who played Willie Loman in it, Eric Salas, was the first heavy dramatic role that he had ever tackled. And he won Best Actor for it in
Connect
the
magazine.
Connect Readers.
Yeah, imagine that, yeah.
Basically, the concept was David Poole's, obviously, in terms of how the set represented this iconic play. Because the space that we then were in, Muse Arts Warehouse, was a relatively small space, you could not build the number of scenes into it that were necessary if you wanted to represent it in a realistic manner. So it was, as you say, a conceptual design that brought in all of the elements, and they were able to to affect the play.
Now, that's the part that amazes me. Seriously, I could not set design. There's nothing in my background that would contribute to it. I might give a suggestion, but that's about it.
Right.
But as I say, and I see what they do, and you're not the only theater ensemble that does it. I mean, I've seen to other places that have really worked good and sometimes it's very minimal.
Sure.
But it works.
Yes.
And I remember 4 people sitting in chairs right in front of the stage, and they were in a car. Mm-hmm. But you understood it. You got the thing, the way they acted in it, and that they made you believe that was a car, and it was just 4 chairs. From that to something beautiful, and from the Taj Mahal, there's it just doesn't fail to amaze me. How good it is to be at a play. I've been in them and at them, and I love being in them, but being at one is just as much enjoyment.
Oh, for me too, Bill.
Right?
I enjoy it. I
sure
truly
you
do.
All right, now, you have a good sense of humor.
I hope so.
you do. And yet, you're all business. When you do something, as you say, you're all business, not surprised.
Right.
That's why you're successful. But I like asking people this. As far back as you can remember, when you were a little girl,
right?
Did you have a sense of humor? Were you funny? Were you not necessarily the class clown, but maybe the funny one in the family? And if you were, did you get away with it?
Well, actually, Bill, no, I wasn't. I was a very serious little girl. As a matter of fact, I liked to do when I was very young was be with the adults. I liked to listen to adult conversation. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was permitted in the living room after dinner when Mother and Dad had some people over. And being a military brat, there was a lot of social back and forth among military people. And I was allowed to come into the living room if I sat quietly and didn't say anything. So I got the nickname, the little old lady.
Wow. Okay, just the opposite of me.
Yeah, I think my sense of humor developed later on. I mean, not that I wasn't a happy child.
Right.
I remember being a happy
but
child.
As far
back as I can remember, I was a very serious little girl.
And not I, cried the wise man. As far back as I can remember, if I could make fun of something, I did. Oh. And I've learned my boundaries. You didn't do it to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
You didn't do it to be mean.
Right.
But if someone said something, my mind would always turn it around and say, well, what if they did it that way? And that's always been with me. It's part of my character of who I am, is I've always been able to laugh. And fortunately, my father had a terrific sense of humor. And as I've said about him before, if you met him once, in 1 minute, he'd have you laughing about something.
Oh.
Total stranger, never met him, and he could be that. He was just like that. He had a pleasant personality. Now, my mother had a sense of humor, too, but it was nowhere near what my father's was. And she was the one that, when I got a little too, yeehaw, she's the one that would call me back into line. Uh-huh. And as far as people coming over and visit, oh, man, go out and play.
Oh, really?
And we don't want to hear you playing. I was not going to sit in any there and doing silly ape dances and, just disrupting their, they like to yak with their friends, so that wasn't going to happen. Get outside and play. It's raining. Good. Bring the laundry with you.
Oh, my.
Wear your dirtiest shirt. Get out and play.
Right.
Anyway, that's what it was. And I think I prefer comedy if it's a movie, with one exception. The movies is a comedy usually cannot stand up for an hour and a half, 2 hours. It has to have a bit of drama in it. And the example I use is My Cousin Vinny. Mm-hmm. All right? They
Excellent
had a
film.
serious story in there, but the comedy in there was overwhelming, and that's why the comedy worked, not just good actors in it. That it worked because they had the drama break, too. You talk about a comedy break in a drama. You need a drama break in a comedy.
Exactly. As I said, the converse is true in drama.
Yep.
You can't have just downer
without
without the release of comedy.
Yeah.
And I think too often I've seen an approach to dramatic works that is too singular, and they fail to find the comedy in it. And so we're getting ready, for example, at the end of our coming season, which opens, our new season opens in September. And we're doing 4 plays, as we usually do. And at the end of the 4 plays is what is known as a drammer. It is August Osage County, another Pulitzer Prize winner that is about a dysfunctional family. The play is hilarious, but it's a drama. When they did the movie with Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts and a raft of wonderful actors, they missed a lot of the comedy. So people have been reacting to the fact that we're going to do August Osage County by saying, oh, I'm not sure I want to see that, because it is heavy. Not the play. The play is an ensemble piece that takes a very serious situation and finds the comedy in it. I mean...
You heard the term gallows humor.
Oh, indeed.
I mean, there's...
Indeed so.
It exists. And when I had Rabbi Robert Haas on the show a couple of weeks ago, I said, it's got people through tough times, and I don't have to tell you that. And he's absolutely, a lot of the Jewish Yiddish humor was born because of extremely tough, unbelievable times. So,
right.
Even then, he says, we did make fun of themselves in this situation, because what else do you have? When you have no control and no power, what else do you have? It's just an important...
Permits you to survive.
It's an important ingredient in life, and it shouldn't be the only thing in life. It shouldn't be the most thing, but I know how important it is, and, seriously. Mm-hmm. And that started, as I say, once again, it goes back to when you're a kid. When I was a kid, something would bother me. I'd be upset about something. My father would just come over and look at me and make the face sadder than mine and just say something dumb like doodlebug. And that was it. I mean, I'm a kid. I couldn't stay sad, Mm-hmm. He's like, you'll have plenty of time to be sad when you're 115. Don't be sad until then.
Thank you.
Okay.
That is true. That is true. And I think that many times when we're under stress, the only thing that relieves that stress is our sense of humor.
Yeah, it puts it in perspective.
It absolutely does.
I mean, there are serious things, and I'm not making light of them, but you got to step back and say, is my being sad over it going to change it? Is it going to make it better? I can do better if I'm in a better frame of mind, and I can work on the situation better. So, I just think it's important.
Very much so. I agree, Bill.
Thank you very much. Hear that, Marianne? All my jokes. Just speaking of Marianne, when I do comedy, there's 3 gauges I use, and Marianne is my gauge, which is great. I have her. She helps me learn scripts. Once again, when you're reading alone, it's one thing, but when someone can read the line that comes in and brings you into it, you learn it better.
Yes.
And she's a super help like that. Never too busy to help me. But as far as comedy, I'll come up with it. And I write all my own stuff, which you should do. But I'll say, okay, Marianne, what do you think of this one? I'll tell her a joke. If she goes, that's awful, I'll use it. If she goes, that's funny, and laughs, I'll use it. Uh-huh. But if she says, it needs some work, she's right. It needs some work. And the reason I say that, if she says it's awful, I'll say, I know we have just opposite senses of humor, so I know it's great when she says it's awful. Oh, me. Okay, now, what are your plans coming up? I heard.
Well, as I said, our season, the Collective Face Theater Ensemble season, opens in September, and we are doing Jesus Christ Superstar. We're starting with that, which is an iconic musical, as you know.
Yeah.
Then we're following, that's in September. In December, we're following it with that hilarious classic Harvey. The one about the imaginary rabbit.
I was just in there at Wilmington Island Methodist Church. I was just in it.
Yeah. And then in March, we will do The Great Gatsby, which will be a wonderful period piece, Flappers, the
Sure
20s.
is, yep.
And then in May, we'll do August Osage County. So that's our season. And because we, as many other groups, had to move when Muse Arts Warehouse, when the building in which Muse Arts Warehouse was kept was slated for teardown, we moved and were blessed to move and form a partnership with Players by the Sea, which is the Savannah State University student drama group.
Oh, super.
And we are operating now at Kennedy Fine Arts Auditorium on the Savannah State University campus. Our subscribers tell us that they love the space. It's very different from Muse. It's not a black box. It's a
Right.
proscenium stage.
What's that
and
mean?
it's a larger venue.
Excuse me, what's that mean?
Oh,
Stage?
proscenium is a classic stage that has a curtain and is rising above the
Oh, super,
audience
yeah,
and so
yeah.
forth. Okay.
Great.
Proscenium is the frontispiece of the theater space. So it's a classic stage with a curtain. So curtains can go up and down, or the curtain can go in and out. So we're in a different space, and we're getting accustomed to it, as is our audience.
Thank you. I have to put a word out now, and it's for one of our underwriters, and here it is, our friends at Sentient Bean.
This portion of WRUU-LP Savannah Soundings programming is made possible by a grant from Sentient Bean, offering fair trade coffee, vegan and vegetarian food, and breakfast all day. Located at 13 East Park Avenue, across the street from the tennis courts at Forsyth Park. Our menu and special events listings can be found at sentientbean.com.
And we're back now with Dandy Barrett. Dandy, sort of a pal of mine.
We played together a little bit, Bill.
We have, and it was always a pleasure, as I say, and to be with someone whose talent I admire is just, it is a treat. It truly is.
Thank you.
And there were so many people involved with the acting I've done in this city that have just been, as I say, I do not want to get into naming names but wow, some of them I just say, you got to be kidding me, get to Broadway. And I know I've said that to you, so you're going to be closer to Broadway.
Well, I am. I've made the decision. My family, my two sons and their families are in the Northeast. I have one family in Fairfield County, Connecticut, which is that county that abuts New York. And I have another family in your neck of the woods, Bill, in Newton, Mass.
I used to live in that city.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, they live in Newton, and my son works in Newton. So I've been away from them now for a number of years. And because they have family schedules and they are in numbers that really can't afford to travel down here.
Oh, I get it, sure.
And I don't get the opportunity to get up there as much. I would like to be closer. I'd like to go to my grandson's soccer game.
Right.
I'd like to be there when my other grandson has an art show, so...
And you always told me you miss shoveling snow.
I don't miss it at all, which is why I'm making a lot of good friends down here, Bill, because I may be spending January and February imposing on my Savannah friends.
I get it. I understand.
But I plan, hopefully, to move up there next summer.
Super.
And I'll be going home, and yes, I will be closer to New York, which will afford me the opportunity to go to a lot more theater, at least once in a while when I can afford the ticket prices.
Well, are you going to be doing any acting up there?
I would hope so. We shall see what the opportunities provide.
It's in your blood. You know
you'll
attempt it.
It's not a walk away from the acting
No,
gig.
and that's good to hear.
I'm going to be doing that as long as I can remember those lines, Bill.
Right. And, once again, as I say, everyone, like Sheila Bolduc, she's leaving. You have to fly, you have to fly. I mean, that's it. That's came
true.
Down here. We flew from where we lived, and we're down here now. And we may fly out of here someday.
Indeed.
No plans on it, but, I mean, that's the human trail that we take. Anyway, I wish you the best, and I hope you're as happy and successful up there as you are here, and I have no doubt that you will be.
Thank you, Bill.
And,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, believe me. So, I am going to get ready to sign off here. This is, I'm going to keep talking. I'm not signing off. You can't make me sign off. Are there any tricks to memorizing lines?
I think everybody has their own skills. Everybody has their own technique. For me, what I do is read the play many, many times before I ever try to start memorizing lines. Once I've read the play a lot and I'm familiar with the flow of the play, then I'll go back and I literally will write down all my lines. For me, the simple act of writing the line
I've
out
heard people that have done that. Okay, I can
helps
understand
me remember. From there, I move on to actual memorization. That's the repetition and the repeat. And I do it page by page. I memorize a page, and if I haven't memorized that page, I don't move on until I've got that page memorized. And my last attempt, after all of that, I have to have a memory partner. You said that Marianne helps you.
Huge help.
I know that there are some people who can do it with recordings and so forth. Not me. I have to have a live body calling those lines, and I've been blessed with people in the theater company who will spend time with me when I need to learn lines and go over. And I do the same for them. So that's the last step. That's somebody coming to my house or me going to somebody's house or meeting an hour or an hour and a half before rehearsal and just doing the memory work.
I always say I have to read something 100 times before I'm comfortable with it. And it probably isn't 100, but it's probably close to it on some of the plays. But what I do is the lines that I get down and that, you notice in every play, I don't care who you are or how few lines you have, there's one that'll hold you up.
Oh,
that'll stick, and you're saying,
It'll stick.
I know this like my middle name. I feel like an idiot.
Right.
So what I would do is, and I don't beat myself up on that, I just go up to the next one, the next one, the next one, but I mark it. I mark the ones that I really should study over and over again. And then I go back and then I just practice them, and then I put it all together, and hopefully that's in the flow with the rest of them. That's everyone has a different technique.
Everybody does. And if you really understand, if you worked with plays as much as I have, and the numbers of plays I've worked with, there is a skill that a good playwright has that helps the actor. It's in the rhythm of the line, or it's in the mnemonics of the line. There will be a repeated consonant sound.
Brings you into your next line. Absolutely.
Things that help lead you in.
Yes.
And you'll notice that is, every good playwright does that.
And that's an art in itself.
It
I
is.
mean, you can have a good story to tell.
Yes.
But if it's not coming across and doesn't flow good, and you've known that, you've looked at scripts and said, why did they write this? This is ridiculous. I'm bouncing from here back to there, then forward, then back to this. There's no flow.
Yep.
And it makes it so much harder to learn.
Yep.
But, we do it. We do it for
and
the
so
love of it.
that's one of the reasons it's so much fun to stick to some of the well-known classics. If you're doing a Tennessee Williams, if you're doing Eugene O'Neill, if you're doing Neil Simon, all these playwrights who have rightly won, an iconic status in our theater library. One of the reasons is they learned to write like that. And that's what workshopping a play does. It gives a playwright the opportunity, before a play ever goes to Broadway, it goes through several iterations, as you well know. And when it's starting to get to the point where it might be produced, they do what they call a workshop. And that they bring in professional actors and the director of the play, the author of the play, the producers of the play sit and listen to these actors work the play. And a lot gets rewritten during that period because there's a difference between that word that you see on the page and when you hear it spoken.
Once again, that is the genius of the playwright. To not only make the story interesting, but make it so that actors can do it. And someone in the audience wouldn't even know that unless they've studied the play.
Exactly.
But that is, once again, it's the genius, and as you say, they're deservedly so. They're iconic. Anyway, is there anything that I haven't covered that you'd like to tell the good people of Savannah?
I think only one thing, Bill. I've heard many people say, "Oh, I don't like theater." And I can understand that. We all have our preferences. But if you haven't tried it, you don't know if you like it or not. So if you've never been to a play, if you've never been to see a live production, I would encourage you to try at least one, and ask your friends who like theaters, what should I see? Because certainly there will be plays that will be more complex than you want, more dramatic than you want. You might want to see something more light.
Go with someone else. It's
go
a
with
whole
somebody.
lot easier when you go with someone that likes it, and then afterwards they might be able to explain, I didn't get that. Well,
Why
now
did they
I see.
do this? How did that happen?
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that for me, obviously, and I gather for you as well, there's nothing quite like seeing that live performance, seeing it come to life. I too adore movies. I mean, I wouldn't, I have to see every Academy Award nominated film if I possibly can. I'm that kind. But there's nothing more thrilling than a good live performance.
And you know what one of the other things is, if you think about it, every play you go to is in CinemaScope and 3D.
Indeed.
And living color.
Indeed.
Right? And which, that you can't get that at every movie you see.
No, you can't.
That's and as I say, I like looking not where the camera wants me to look, but where I want to look on the stage. And and I'm still listening to the dialogue. I'm still paying attention to that. But I always like the side things that you.
Well, and besides that, if you don't, you often do miss some of the most important things that are happening in the play.
Right. It's just a look. Someone shrugging their shoulders.
Indeed.
And
what is that character's attitude toward what is being said?
Yeah.
That may be more important than what in actuality is being said.
Yeah. Well, Dandy, as I say, it's been a pleasure having you. This is Dandy Barrett here, and my name is Bill Cooper. The name of the show is Savannah at Night, and I will be signing off. And I'd like to remind you, this is WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Thank you for listening.